Woohoo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mayfairs Lounge. The very first ever Mayfairs Lounge. We have a grand opening here tonight, and coming in, I've got you a nice VIP guest coming down all the way from wherever the hell it is. I don't care. It's not West London, so it's invalid. But today I'll bring you my boy, the one and only Rudy Ryan. If I can get you
Tate
going.
Mayfairs, how you doing, mate?
If I can get you going, son. Hang on a minute.
We on?
Is this thing on? There you are. Is that you there? I think that's you, mate.
That is me. How you doing, Mr. Tate Mayfairs?
Good, brother. Good. Technical difficulties, mate. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this Twitch boy. But it's the very first one, and it's an absolute...
Allow you, then.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's the very first one, and I couldn't have more of an A1 guest than yourself, mate. So,
privilege, mate. Thank you very much.
to those who don't know, the all-star, a guy who has been a professional, elite, top of the game athlete in every sport he's gone into, and now he resides in the sport of professional wrestling here in the United Kingdom. Rudy Ryan, my boy. I got myself a nice 30-year Mayfairs special whiskey for the occasion. Cheers to you, boy.
Do you know what, mate? I usually drink water, but I thought for the Mayfairs Lounge, I'll bring out the Cobra for you.
I appreciate that.
Cheers to that.
I appreciate that, man. All right. I've got the water too. Just in case.
Yeah. Okay.
I always stay hydrated. Us pro athletes. You know what I mean?
It's important, mate. It's important.
It's very important, boy. But momentous occasions. We need to crack out the.
It's the first one.
30-year, mate. The 30-year. So, this is gonna be carnage, mate. You know this. This is not my forte. Your forte is getting in the gym, lifting things, is getting in the ring and hitting people in the face. This kind of business is another wheelhouse, but we're rolling with it as we go, mate. I've done the intro. I've got some notes here. I've done an intro. Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember meeting the great one and only Tate Mayfairs? Do you remember that?
I don't remember a specific.
No,
time.
You do. I think you do. It was obviously meeting God. Everyone remembers the first time they met God. So.
Well, it was my first session at Hustle. It was a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And you were, of course, you were setting up the ring. Actually, no, you weren't setting up the ring.
Nah.
You were waiting on the side, waiting for everyone else to set up the ring.
That's right. I was eating grapes. I was eating grapes. No, grapes were being fed to me as the ring was being set up.
Drinking your water.
That's it, mate. Yeah.
But it was at a Hustle session on a Thursday night. First time I met you. You know how it is shaking everyone's hands before you had to keep 2 meter distance now.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day when we could all. I'm just getting a power source here. Don't you mind me?
And yeah, man, we just kind of hit it off from the get go. You were super welcoming to me. So I'm quite new to the sport. You've been around a little while because you started when you were quite young.
That's true. Yeah.
And and it just went from there. And I went to a couple of wrestling schools before I first went to Hustle. But the minute I stepped into Hustle and I was trained by Sid and I met you guys and a couple of other guys like Robbins, Joey, Arthur Starrick, you just made me feel so welcome, and I knew that was the place for me to train, and I never looked back, really, man.
That's right, man. And we'll get into. That's dope. I'm glad you say that, mate, because I feel the same way about that. But we'll get back into some of that there, as you come into the ring. But I just wanted to mention that we probably, that's where we met. And of course, we've shared the car and the road and all kinds of
Yeah.
things since. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's go to your relation. What I want to cover here, if I can, with people is their relationship and their journey with professional wrestling. So so tell me, when do you remember, like, when was the first time that you laid eyes on the great sport of professional wrestling, and what is that like for you?
So like I my parents split when I was quite young. I was 3. So like every other weekend I'd go down and spend the weekend with my dad. And he had Sky. He could afford Sky at that time. My mum didn't have Sky.
You're a rich
Um,
boy.
he was
See,
privileged. He
flossing.
lived by himself.
Yeah.
And so like every other weekend I'd go down there Friday night. It was a traditional get chicken and chips on the way home.
Nice.
You know, like driving me home, and I'd get back. I'd watch chicken and chips, and I'd have control of the Sky remote, and I just flicked over on Sky Sports. Like my dad's super sporty. Like he ran athletics when he was back in Jamaica.
Is
He
it?
played.
Wait, so your dad grew up in Jamaica?
Yeah, he's from Jamaica. So he lived. He was born and raised in Jamaica till about 18.
Yeah.
And then he decided to... No, actually, tell a lie. He was born here till he
Okay.
was 10.
Mm.
Done school.
That was a long birth. No, I'm joking. Go on. Yeah, so he was here till he was 10.
That wasn't a... Yeah, since he was 10, super talented athlete. He played football. And I believe it was Tottenham he had a trial for. But my grandma was quite a stubborn... you know, like knew what she wanted sort of woman, and she was like, "No, I want to go back to Jamaica." And he had a trial for Tottenham.
No, what?
Trial for Tottenham. Yeah, they flew him and the brothers back to Jamaica, so he missed out on that opportunity. And then like back in Jamaica, like he used to run track, play cricket for the school. Like football was a big thing. They'd have like, do you know, like you have like opposite schools, and like everyone would come down. They would have food, like cookouts. Like it was a massive thing. Do you see like college sports out in America is a big thing, and you have the whole community?
Yeah.
Same out there with football. Like people bet on it. You know, like it's crazy. It's crazy big. Same with the athletics. That's how like people like Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, they all get picked up because they've seen at school.
Right.
Do like school athletics up in the stadium in Kingston. It's just a massive thing. So yeah,
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. So like he kind of like just from the get go, I was just super sporty. And like my first sport was actually rugby. I went to school fete when I was young. I was like 4, my primary school. Went to school fete, and the local rugby team was there, and I just played like tag rugby, enjoyed it. They were like, "Oh, why don't you come down?" So I did. Went down to the rugby, and then I got good. Part of the team.
Did you stay on with the rugby to when it got full contact?
So this is. So I was like 4 or 5, like scoring tries like there was no tomorrow.
Yes, boy.
And then they were like, "Do you know what? We want you to step up a year."
Yeah.
So I had to play up a year.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's contact time.
Yeah.
And I played a few games, and I got hit in the ribs once, right? And I was like, "No, Mum, sub me out." I was like, "No, not for me."
Oh, that would all come to change.
And I was playing like 6, 7-year-olds. So
well, fair. Yeah, that's a lot at that age, isn't it? Those years at that age, everyone's growing so fast. Like when you fight bigger boys, it means a lot, doesn't it? So
but it makes you like you get hit down by bigger boys. It helps you get back up, which is something you can take on later in life.
For sure. Yeah.
The
reason why I asked was like, I did rugby when I was a kid, and played for the London Irish. They're big. They're quite a big team, I think. And
rugby union.
What's that?
Rugby league or rugby union?
I don't have a clue, son.
Rugby leagues, you have only a certain amount of passes. So like when they ruck over, they can't do that in rugby league. So you have to, if it stops play, they've got to like push the ball back, and you kick it back, and then you start play again, and you have like 6 phases, I think. Whereas rugby unions, like what we watch on TV, and they ruck over, and like they're fighting for it underneath. Is that when you played rugby union?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because that's what I played at secondary school as well, and they floated me about. So I was mainly because I played hooker a few times.
Oh yeah.
Cheeky little name that is, isn't it? How dare they? But then I was mainly when you have for the most part, you have the scrum and then you have like 4 guys flank out. Is it called a flank?
Yeah.
I was normally like third in line or last guy runner on the
like a winger, yeah.
Yeah. Or like third in line, so it would go past me, run past them.
Yeah.
But the reason I asked about the tackle, the full contact, was because I was doing it when it was non-contact, and I was like, it felt like I was like a warrior, and then I loved it, and then there was like, next year it's full contact, and I remember like the anticipation building up for this night. I was so I was so ready for it. I was like, yes, let's have it. And then when it finally did happen, it was just a big thing. I just remember that mentally it was like this big thing that you're prepping for. Like, we are now officially going to war. And I remember that first tackle, like you said.
No, what?
I laid on the floor. I was like, ugh! I've never been hit so hard in my life. And the coach went to me, oh, when you get hit, breathe out when you get hit.
True.
And then little to know how beneficial that would be, like going into what we do now. you don't want to. Thankfully, I think for some of that learnings, I don't not sucking wind when we're taking these bumps.
Yeah, it does. It teaches you how to fall, and I think like a lot of sports, even like contact sports, whatever it is, it teaches you to embrace contact and kind of like welcome it.
Yes, mate.
And I think that's super, like that helps loads in what we do. And I think we'll get into it, but when I first learned how to wrestle and how to hit the mat and stuff, take bumps, it was like, I think people like people who were training me were like, how was it? Because they expected me to be like most people, be like, like catching my breath, but because I've been like I've been playing sports since I kind of was born. It kind of was just like nothing to me. Not nothing. Like I could feel it.
All right, hard nut. All right.
You're right. You'll start it. It was definitely a new experience, but it wasn't as impactful on me if that was the first ever time I took any contact.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But I stopped playing rugby for that time, but I carried on into my school when I started secondary school. But then I moved on to football.
Yeah.
So I was doing football. I started going every week because that was over down by my dad's way in London, like East London. So I was going every week.
Yeah.
East London. And then I got selected for the team, and then I wasn't able to go every week. It was every other week. And then I kind of dropped out of like the team. I wasn't competing. It wasn't like the training, like obviously at like grassroots level sport, a lot of the time you rely on volunteers and like the parents, dads or mums being coaches. And like if you're not into the first team or competing team, you're kind of left with like you're not really cared about. And I kind of felt that like the focus wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost interest, but then I kind of picked up the sport of basketball at the same time. And basketball was the first sport that I feel that I really took underneath like my wing and really worked for it. And I started that when I was like 10, 11. I had a best friend at a time. Like, funny story, I was watching Steve Nash.
Okay.
On my dad's.
Who is he? I don't know who that is.
Phoenix Sun. He's a Hall of Famer now. Yeah, I think he's a coach somewhere. I can't remember. Maybe Brooklyn.
Okay.
But he's a coach in the NBA right now, and point guard. He's probably about 6'1". And I remember watching him, and I was like, I want to go to the park and shoot, but I don't have a basketball. Right. I remember coming home from my dad's that weekend, and he dropped me off at my mum's, and I spotted something underneath my mum's car.
No.
It was a basketball.
No.
Yeah, real talk. It was a basketball. It's almost like fate.
Yes.
If you believe in God or spirits or any higher power.
Yeah.
I promise you, it was underneath my mum's old like Ford Fiesta, navy blue. It was a basketball. And I was like, chances of that?
Yeah.
Took it in. It was like a battered up basketball. It had like a bit of a lump in it. It's like, do you know when you like have a ball and it's like being used so much, you have a bit of a bump?
Yes, I know that exact thing because I with basketball, I did a bit of basketball as well in my youth, and sometimes we run out of footballs, or we'd kicked them over the fences or roofs and lost them, and we played like football with the basketball, and when you do that, it ends up growing little lumps in it. So
little tumors or something.
Yeah, it's like it's a really sad experience, but I know, I know what you're on about. Yeah.
And so I was like, great. So I was like, I need a pump now.
And
then found a pump, pumped it up. Next time I went down to my dad's, Dad, can you take me to the park? I want to play basketball.
Yeah.
My dad was like American sports.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, all right then. I went down, started shooting, couldn't shoot for anything.
Yeah.
It's
harder than it looks.
Started doing that.
Yeah.
Started learning. I was like, oh, cool. And then I had a best friend at the time, and he had a garden. I used to spend a lot of my time there because both of my parents worked.
Yeah.
So I was too young to like stay at home by myself. So I spent most of my childhood around there. They kind of looked after me in a way.
Yeah.
And
that's nice.
So I was like, oh, check this out. And like he had like, do you know those old plastic kids basketball nets in the back garden?
Yeah.
The time, we were playing on that, shooting, dunking. It's only tiny.
Okay.
Tending to be our favourite players.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, he started joining a basketball club but didn't tell me about it.
The cheeky bastard.
I told you about this. Didn't you tell me that? So I found out about it and I started to go to a club. It was all only a local club, wasn't anything serious. And then we started to get to a level where it was like, he was better than me anyway. Right. At that point. He had a basketball net in his back garden. He got a better one, like a full-size one, was practicing every day. Because back then in school, you didn't really have much else to do but to go to school and then come home and play. And so we started to get a bit serious. We started to play a few games, and then we went to a better club that had better setup in Brentwood in Essex, and it kind of just went from there really. I think within like a year of being there, I was then put to the first team. Started playing National League, which was all around the country. I then ended up getting a trial to play for Essex.
Yeah.
Had a trial. Yeah. Ended up getting selected for Essex, representing the county. Went to the county tournament, and then I ended up getting picked up for the regional team, so East of England.
Right. So we're growing from strength to strength here.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then I trained there. That training was like in Hertfordshire somewhere, and
that's quite a journey then for where you're at in Essex. Then that's like
about an hour.
Yeah.
I have to thank my mum for like chasing me down there and driving me there. Thanks, Mumsy.
Yeah.
Went there. It was probably like every month or twice a month, going to Hertfordshire, having a whole day like training camp, as on top of like school and training at my own club as well. And then my first year, I ended up getting selected to represent East of England and go to a regional tournament. So this is all the different regions in the country, including Wales, Scotland. I think Ireland was at one as well.
And what are you thinking at this time? Like, are you thinking like, I just like playing basketball, this is dope, or are you thinking like, oh, this is getting bigger and bigger, and like are you actively thinking like, this is the journey, I want to go here, then I'm going here, then I'm going here, or are you just kind of doing it and enjoying it, and one thing is just unlocking into the next and unlocking into the next?
I think a bit of both really. I think because it was my first experience on that journey, playing at that level, I didn't really think so deeply into it that this is the steps I need to take.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I was also quite conscious that I do want to work hard and I do have a goal. And my goal, even when I was 11, I remember I stood up in my new school. I
Yeah.
stood up and they were talking about dreams.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Who's got a dream?" And in front of like 1,000 people in a new
Yes.
school, like little year 7 me,
Yes.
I was like, I want to go to the States on a scholarship and play basketball. And because I said that, the school PE teachers, they took a liking to me and they were like, "Come early before school and you can have the court and you can do what you want to do and train before school," at like 11 years old.
Man, that's good teaching. That's
Yeah.
it, mate. I've got like I feel good goosebumps there. That's great.
Yeah,
Sick,
it's those people that you kind of remember on your journey.
Hell yeah.
Like they open those opportunities for you. So as much as like I was enjoying it for what it was, which I think also helped me not build as much pressure on myself. So like the first time I ended up representing Essex, and then the first time I ended up representing East of England, and the next step was England. But unfortunately, I didn't get selected for England that time. Okay. At the regional tournament. That's all right. You get knocked down, you come back up.
It's fine.
And then I think in like 2 years' time, same process. So I think that was under 13s, we're under 15s now. And for Essex, got it. And I was quite ill actually. I went to hospital for like a week. I was admitted to hospital. I was just super like run down when I was 15. No. I remember lost loads of weight and everything. So I was on drips and stuff.
What was that about? Then, like overworking or like working out too much? You know what I mean? Or...
I don't know. I was doing like work experience at school, funny enough.
Yeah.
And I just came run down. I think I had like this viral infection.
Okay.
And it just went from one thing to the next, and I was quite ill. And then I ended up being admitted to hospital. And I was in there for about a week. Lost loads of weight. Like my hair grew. I had like an afro at that time. I think if I find photos, you can see me with an afro.
Please.
Right.
Please.
And like a week later, I had a tournament for Essex.
Right.
You know. So I ended up, after a week, I went to the tournament, played the tournament, was looking super skinny and pale. And like not 100%, and ended up getting selected for the regional squad again.
Boom.
You know, but this time I didn't actually get. When I was doing the training for the regional squad, I wasn't successful in getting selected to go to the tournament. And then when I was 17, I went through the same process, got selected for the tournament, and then went from there. And when I was like 16 to 18, I went to a basketball academy called Barking Abbey, which is like known in this country for sending people to like America on scholarship. And like developing players that represent GB seniors, etc. And so I went there like 40 hours of the week. I promise you, it was probably basketball, and on top of that, we had to do A-levels at the same time. It was like a full-time job. It was nuts.
That's sick.
Yeah, like the first year, I flunked I'd done terrible in my first year of A-levels because my focus was on basketball.
It's like 40 hours, like a full-time job, basketball, and then can you just do some A-levels as well? Like, do you mind?
Yeah, literally.
That's tough. Did you even care about the A-levels, or were you thinking, I'm just here for
my goal at that point was I wanted to go to the States.
Yeah.
And, like, I wasn't a favourite.
No.
Like, I had a coach.
Yeah.
That was, like, horrible to me. He was horrific to me. Just like I remember when I first started there, like, he screamed, like, my confidence was super knocked. So I went from playing for a team where I was, like, starter, super confident. Coming into this new team with older guys, higher level, super confident. This American coach, and I'll never forget his name. And
say it.
Franklin Holloway.
Right? You didn't know, mate. You didn't have a clue what you had in your hands, Franklin Holloway.
I thank him at the same time in a weird way.
Okay.
So like I remember early on we would have practice, and I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. We're all human.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember
not me though. Not me.
Not me, obviously. he screamed at me in my face, telling me like I was. Can I swear on here?
I think I already have. Yeah, go ahead, mate.
Like I'm shit. I'll never ever like be anything. I'll never play basketball on this team. Like just stuff like that. And like if there was like a spot up for grabs, like someone's injured, he would like get like a 14-year-old to step in instead of me, even though I wasn't on like the already playing, like sort of thing.
That's weird.
So like that sort of stuff, like it just really got into my head.
Yeah.
But then like there was
he trying to do
like,
that hard love, like coach him, like get him? Do you think he was trying to do that and it just wasn't the right fit for you at that time, or was it just?
He may argue that, but the
Right.
way he made me feel,
Yeah.
and even like other players on my team, were
Right.
like, no, that's bang out of order.
Yeah, man.
Like, there's something wrong there.
Mm.
And I
That's
remember
not cool.
like I remember I was in the changing room, like I locked out all the lights, and sometimes I'd cry, man, because I wanted it that bad.
Yes.
And it's like just those things that I would cry. Like I fought to get into that school because it's a top school, and like that happened to me, so I cried. But what I ended up doing is just making me work harder.
Yeah.
So I'd come in early. So like we're talking like school would start at what 8:30.
Okay.
I'd be in there for 7:30, and I'd have to travel from Essex to London as well. It's on the trains. So I'd be in there from 7:30. I'd shoot. I'd then go to class.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like in college, sixth form, you'd have 3 periods. So I'd go and do an individual, you know, I'd go in the weight room. So we'd usually have like two 3 periods in the day. So
Yeah.
I'll do one individual, which is like a skills session, and then the next one is like in the weight room, another 3 period.
Yeah.
And then I'd then do practice after school. I then ended up doing girls' practice. So I joined in and done the girls' practice.
You pervert.
And then after that, I'd then go into the other gym and shoot, get my stuff, go back home, and then do it the next same day.
This is what I'm talking about, people. This is why I get along with this man, because he is a born hustler. He knows how to work hard. He knows how to put in the effort, and this is what it takes to be top level athletes. This is what it takes. Some people think that getting ahead is like just like you owed it. Some people feel like, oh, you learn to do a couple of things and like things should be handed to you, or you can just, you know, be a silly bugger and things come your way. Real results, real athletes, real hard grit is made by hours and hours and hours of work. And people like this man right here, Rudy Ryan, is an example of that. And that's why I think the future's so bright for you, mate. Like,
well, I appreciate that, man.
This is what hustle is. This is what a grind is. This is what being the best is about. I know that. I resonate with that. You know that, but I think it's important that people hear these things. It's important that people hear like parts of your story like this, that the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes. You know what I mean? When they see you do the walkout and they see the All-Star, they understand
it's true, man.
that this is real. It's very real.
It is real. Like the way I feel when I'm in the ring, when I step out the curtain, that's me. That is me. You know, it's not everything I represent is me, and that's what I kind of want to get that message across.
You gave me a couple links. Was one of them the basketball? Was one of them basketball?
Yeah, one of them was basketball. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
That was like my last season highlight. There's about 1:21.
Are you on the old Twitch Jones?
Yeah, I am.
Alright, have a look. Tell me how this looks. So I need to move my... Oh. What we'll do is maybe we'll put it up here. Oh, that's not it.
Can you bring it forward, or did you get rid of like the 2 faces?
Let's have a look. What does that do? Oh, there's it. Hey.
Yeah, there we go.
Do. I still want to see us if ideal. We'll do that up, and that up. But we'll make us nice and small down in the bottom here. There you are. Okay. Talk us through this. Like,
So like I made this myself. So a lot of the kids that were like favorites, they had like professional videographers making their own mixtape.
Oh, it's an uphill battle.
And like sending them out to coaches that they knew. And like when I'd come home from training all day, like I would spend hours getting hundreds and thousands of coaches' emails from the States and sending every single one an email with my mixtape that I mixed myself as well. So this is what I sent out.
Wait, when you say mixtape,
it's not me spitting bars.
oh man, because if you had put together a mixtape and and your basketball thing, then that would just be next level.
Maybe one day I might venture into the music.
Yeah. Well, you can hit me up. All right.
That's right.
All right, you might block some of it, unfortunately.
Yes, that's fine.
I'm not all. This ain't my thing. All right, let's go. Let's have a look at this.
I've got to show coaches I can shoot free throws,
Yes, boy. It's all about the 3-point now.
Yeah, that's a regional tournament right there. This is just like normal league stuff. Taking ankles out here.
Yes. No. Off the window, boy.
And like for basketball, I'm not the tallest of guys. Like the tallest guy I've played with is 7'1". I'm like 6 foot on a good day.
So what's your favourite? What's your favourite? Like being up by the thing and laying up, or 3-pointers, or rebounds, or what?
An aggressive player, like I like to drive to the hoop. Like one of my favourite players was Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
He was one of my favourite players. He still is. And he does a lot of that. But he's had to change. Like he tore like his ACL in both legs, so he's had to change the way he plays. But
so how does he change up then with that? Like, is he more like looking to be in the field and make the passes, or what?
Yeah, that's it. He's more of a playmaker. Yeah. He's developed a bit more of an outside shot. He's not as explosive towards the rim.
Okay.
And therefore, it just sustained his career a little bit longer.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's a few highlights.
And do you still watch it at all?
Yeah. Do you know what? Like,
I know I've gone.
So I sent out all these emails, and I had like a part scholarship somewhere, and I spoke to my parents, and they didn't feel like it was the best decision for me, and I was kind of broke by that. It took me a long time, and it's only like recently, so like 6 years later, that I've kind of started to develop my love again and appreciation for basketball and watch it again.
Okay, I can understand that. Like, you've put so much time and effort into it, and then when it doesn't happen, like, you kind of get like a bit. It's like an old girlfriend that you was into, and then you don't want to kind of spend any time thinking or talking about that, afterwards. But then after a certain period of time, you can sort of look back at it and still enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
No. You say what you're gonna say.
I had a similar thing with music, like with bands. So, in my time out from when I started wrestling at 14, and I was doing the wrestling, and then things happened, and I did music for a while, did it professionally, had some successes, but with those successes, it then exploded. Like, relationships within bands and within things happening, fell apart. So my kind of like, I felt that thing of like, oh, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to whatever. But now that I'm such a huge success in professional wrestling, I can go back and enjoy the songs and the stuff that I've made in the past, and and the people that I made it with. So,
do you still play now? Like playing bands?
I dabble, mate. I dabble, yeah.
Little dibble dabble?
A little dibble dabble, double dip. You know what I'm saying? The world is yet to.
Gigs, or do you just do like studio sessions and stuff?
Yeah, we played gigs. Yeah, we still play a few gigs here and there for those who know. Couple now, so we like I say, it used to be full time, but now it's more like 3 gigs a year or something like that. But who knows what might happen? I'd really like to make some music and release it under the Tate Mayfairs brand, but.
Oh well, you got a platform there.
We got it, boy. We got it.
So your little Tate Mayfair's jingle at the start,
That's next, boy. It's gonna feature you though. I need you to. You finally get this mixtape of yours made.
Oh mate, it's drop a 16 bar,
Yes, please. So I mean, where did we go from here? I've got your American football thing up here. I mean, yeah. Where do we? Is that what comes after the basketball? What happens there?
So I stayed out of sport for like a year. I actually done like a bit of modelling and acting for a year. And then
good looking boy.
Stop it, mate. Stop it.
How did you find that world? Because you've told me a bit about it, but
you know what? I think it was almost. I was searching for acceptance. After what happened, and like I didn't. The way I was treated for those 2 years by that coach, and the way it made me feel, and not achieving what I set out to achieve.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be accepted, and then that was the first thing that kind of snowballed. And I was able to do a lot of cool things, but that world's not for me. It is a crazy world.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
On a social side, like all this free stuff you have to do, like. People are just, no disregard to anyone who's successful in that industry, or enjoys that industry. But for me, it was just like the amount of free work you had to do, like when you're promised to be paid and they don't pay you. There's no for when I was doing it, I don't know if it's different now, but there was no union or governing body to kind of regulate that.
Bit Wild West, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you didn't have an agent or someone looking after you, it could be a dangerous world. And I found myself in a place where I do loads of stuff for free. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I'll do a load of work, like jobs in a row, and then it would go quiet for a while.
Okay.
And then I'd be chasing up people all the time to pay me. You'd have to make different different appearances, different parties you have to go to. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It felt right fit at the time. I got to do a lot of cool stuff, and but yeah, I just decided it wasn't for me. And then I then went back to uni.
Yeah.
Well, not back. I decided to go to a uni.
Yeah.
And I had a part scholarship not part scholarship. I had a scholarship for basketball there. So, as well as I was doing my studies, they actually paid me a little bit of money.
So you're picking basketball up again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Within half a year, I was just like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready to go back to putting in this grind on the basketball again?
No. And but at the same time, I actually picked up American football.
Right.
It's just something I just wanted to try. And I just, I liked the guys that I was playing with. I had fun. I found that same enjoyment as I did probably in my last year before I went to Barking.
Yeah.
In basketball, that I found that same enjoyment in sport that I did with the guys at uni. So then I just started playing there. I said to them, do you know what? as much as like your money's nice, I actually turned down the scholarship. So they paid you half, but and then you pay you half of it once you finish the season. And then depending on where you rank, depends on how much more money or how little less money you get. And that's how they do the scholarship system. And
that's wild. Yeah.
halfway through the year, I just had a conversation with my coach, and I was like, do you know what? This isn't for me. I said I'd rather you keep the money and give it to someone else that would like appreciate it, and I'd rather go play American football and not get paid for it.
That's pretty mad, mate. Like, because like that's just wild for a lot of reasons. Like, you've come from putting in all that effort in the basketball, and getting so far with it, and then, not having what you wanted from it. Getting that scholarship where you are being in the middle there, you're doing the modelling where you got all these crazy new experiences, beautiful people, wild whatever going on, but part of what's not happy about that and clicking for you is the uncertainty about money, is the about that, the uncertainty around money and like chasing things up and all of that. You get offered the scholarship, now you're getting guaranteed money and an education, doing something basketball that you've been trying in for such a long time. But the damage is done here, and you kind of you're still searching in yourself to find like, what is this? Where are my feet? Where am I?
Yeah.
Who am I, and what do I actually want to be doing? To the point that you'd say, give this to someone else, because you understand how much that this can mean to a person, but you've fallen out of love with it. And as much as that you're getting money now, which was the issue with the modelling, you're thinking, I got my eyes on this American football.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Well, I have not really thought about it like that, but yeah, the way you summed it up there is quite true. Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it shows how you were kind of heartbroken with the basketball, but then two, how intrigued you were about this new sport, American football, which is Impact. So tell me, are you watching this? I'm going to play the video and tell me a little bit about the American football.
So this is probably my second season. Oh no, no, I'm playing. This is my second season. So I ended up playing 3 seasons in American football. I played 1 season. So the way it worked, in the winter, you play for your uni. In the summer, so this is in the summer, you play for like your club team. I played for London Hornets, so this is in this club's based in Camden. This is my second season, and this is for uni, so in the blue.
Yeah.
So I played defensive back.
Yeah.
As a safety. So the best way to understand the safety, if you have like a limited amount of knowledge about American football, is it's almost like the quarterback of the defense. So the safety is the last line of defense, and you've got to read the offense. And I kind of just fell into that position going into a few training sessions, and I just enjoyed it. And most of all, I just enjoyed the guys I was with. And then after my first season, my uni and my club team for the Hornets, I said, I'm going to make GB squad.
Yes.
I said that.
Yeah.
And then I think shortly after that, there was like an email that went out, or a post from GB that said, oh, we're looking for recruiting players. And we had to do like a combine and film it. So that was like some highlights. That was some like drills, like the 40 yards, some agility stuff, like bench. You had to put like certain stats in, etc.
Yeah.
I done that, sent it off, and I ended up getting a trial in Sheffield. Went to the trial. So this is like, I've been playing this for about 12 months now. I went to the trial. I've done some different stuff. The level was definitely a step up. I was trialing out against guys that from all around the country, including Scotland and Wales. And I got an email a week later saying, congratulations, you've been selected for Team GB.
That is mad. Can you imagine, like, that's just, you literally, first time you laced up the boots and put on the pads and the helmet 12 months ago, and then you're literally on the Great Britain squad.
Yeah,
That's wild,
pretty
mate.
mad. Yeah, and we had to do like training. So they don't play many games. They'll play like maybe 1 or 2 games a year, and then every like 2 or 4 years they would have like a European Championships. It's every 4 years, and so I only ended up paying 1 game for Great Britain, and it was in Sweden. But every month we'd go up to Derby, which was the base, so we had to make our own way up there. Unfortunately, like we didn't have like the governing body support, so you just like free for all. You just got to do it yourself.
Okay.
So I'd go up on trains like the night before, stay in a hotel. I have to fund that myself, or drive up on the day. You know, like 3 hours up to Derby, do a training session, and drive home. Like that sort of stuff. And then like I think I was with them for near enough a year, and then like October 2017, I think it came up on my memories the other day. I got selected to go. Not the other day. It's not in October, but pretty end of last year.
Yeah.
I got selected to go to Sweden, part of a 45-man squad, and represent Great Britain, which was an experience in itself.
That's sick, man.
Yeah. We lost the game, unfortunately, but just like kitting up in like your country's gear and just standing and singing the national anthem, that is like crazy. Like you selected as like one of the few best players in the country.
Are you aware at this time that like how rare this is, like, or is this kind of just the day in the life of the All-Star, like going to the airport to go compete for your country in some sport that you just started 12 months ago? Is this just like a day in the life of the All-Star, or are you going like, I don't know, tell me.
I understood it was like definitely a privilege and an opportunity that I've earned, and like I'm representing the country, so there's a standard to behold.
Yeah.
But I didn't really sit there thinking, oh, I started this sport 12 years ago. This is such a great achievement. It was kind of like I was more in the moment. You know, like you're studying game tape, you're watching film. Like the night before, we're in like the conference in like the hotel, and we're having a team talk, and we're getting massages and physio done like the night before the game, and like we're being looked after. Like you have a whole team, like looking after you, and like you're getting like fed, and you know like you're having to have a bedtime. You know, you're having to wake up at a certain time, be down for breakfast. Like it's a job. Like you're there for a job.
Yeah.
So it's like
you're just in the zone. You're in the zone. Yeah.
You're just focused.
Yeah. See, that's why. No, God.
No, carry on.
No, I was gonna just be an idiot and say, because they asked me to join the team as well, but I said, listen, I'm not sticking to a curfew, you know.
Got to be out in Sweden, in Gothenburg.
That's it. You know what I mean?
The only thing that like is it's great. It's a great thing to do. Like very few people get to say, look, do you know what? I've represented the country in the sport. But the one thing that's the sad aspect of it is that you might visit all these countries, but you don't get to go out and experience these countries.
Yeah.
Because being an athlete isn't like turning up to the game or the event and performing. It's all the stuff in between. It's the preparation, it's the nutrition, it's the mobility, the strength conditioning, just the mindset, the psychological health of that individual. It's a 24/7 like job.
It is.
If you think about it like that.
It is.
So, and you're always switched on. Like if you get to that level where you're doing media, you've got to be a certain way, talk a certain way. So that's the only thing. Like you can't let your hair down when you visit these countries. And like I think after the game, like we had to have a team dinner, and then we had to do a rookie showcase. So the first timers, which was like myself, we had to go up there and perform in front of the veterans, and if they approve of it, then you get to go through. If you don't, then you get a forfeit, sort of thing. They call it the rookie showcase, and it's like it's like a team building experience.
What kind of things are they performing here?
So we had like, do you know, like,
do you do a striptease?
Like, no, I didn't. I can't remember what I'd done. I think I sung or something like that. But don't get me to sing on the podcast. I'm not singing.
Okay.
I didn't get approved. So let's just say my singing's bad.
What was the forfeit?
Do you know what? I kind of avoided the forfeit. Like, I kind of slipped away and went
this
on a
guy.
night out. And,
this guy.
Got out of it because it could have been brutal.
It's all right,
you know
guys.
What team sports are like.
I'll make sure he does the forfeit, just in case there was.
So then we were building up to like the European champs.
Yeah.
The following year, same thing, traveling up and down the country, doing all of that, feeling good. I joined a higher team, so playing in the Premier League in this country for the London Blitz, which is based in Finsbury Park, so North London. Feel good. And then, like, 5 days before we meant to fly out, I had, like, family that have already booked their flights out there to the European champs, thought I was on the team. I got a message saying, I've been cut.
No.
Yeah. And
and you're right back to where you were kind of with the basketball, right?
And that's the unfortunate truth and cutthroatness of sport.
Right.
That people don't maybe experience or understand. That you literally, like, you do so much work, like a year in the making. You've come off representing the country, and then, like, you think you're going to get taken again. You got support, and boom, within one message, you're cut.
Damn.
And then
that's rough.
But quite weirdly, at the same time, I got picked up by the governing body of England for England Institute for Sport.
Yeah.
As like a talent ID program, and then I got pushed into. I tried out for the skeleton team, so it's a Winter Olympic sport. Do you know what skeleton is?
Okay. For a second now, I was thinking of an actual skeleton, but now I'm aware of what you're on about.
Yeah. So you're going like 80 miles an hour, like. For lots of like G-force pulling you down on the track, ice track, but you can, instead of in a bobsleigh.
This is just wild, man. Like, you've literally gone from being top end basketball, going into the lifestyle of the modelling and that, and then representing the country in this and getting at this point, and then it gets pulled away from you. But then it's like, hey, do this other completely random sport.
Random sport, yeah.
And is this for Great Britain as well, or?
Yeah, there's no, like, because it's such a niche sport, there's no, like, grassroots level. Like, you can't go, do you know what, son? You're going to go do some skeleton today. Like, there's nothing like that. So,
speak for yourself, mate. I was on the Sunday League skeleton team in West London. Yeah.
So, yeah. So you just go straight in at the top end. So I was in like the developmental squad for Great Britain.
Yeah.
On path to go to like the 2026 Winter Olympics, for skeleton, which is like head first on a dinner tray, basically, going like 80, 90 miles an hour down an ice track, which is super dangerous.
Yeah.
So I was with them for a summer, doing summer training up in Bath.
Yeah.
And then like came to like right at the end. Where we were actually going to go and travel. So I didn't actually get to go on the ice track, unfortunately. It was just like the dry track that they have in Bath. So it's the same sort of concept, the same thing, but you're only doing like the push start and you're going on a sled, which is on like kind of rails. Do you know how trains sort of work on like the railway?
Yeah.
Kind of works like that.
I think,
So we're doing that, and then right at the end, when there's a few people left, ready to get taken to like Norway and properly try it out for real, I got cut.
What's going on, boy? What's going on? It's like a repeated story.
It is. I think there's an element of like, do you know that you want it so bad?
Yeah.
That you almost like try so hard and you put so much pressure on and you're tense, and it's just like you stop enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's where I was at, because I was almost like, I feel like I was almost so desperate to like just succeed at a high level.
Yeah.
That I put so much pressure on myself that maybe psychologically I hindered myself, and therefore I couldn't perform to my best abilities. And
There is some sort of cosmic law about wanting something so much, and you put too much want onto something that you can stop it from happening. So there's something about just being at ease and doing the work and things just naturally coming about. But it's hard when you're so focused and a hardworking person to kind of take take a foot off the gas and let other things do the work.
that's it, yeah. And I feel that that's very much why I never kind of reached that next step of like my athletic journey with those sports. Like I didn't quite get to the next level. But maybe like in another breath, you could also be like, well, that's because you were actually meant for this, which is what I do now.
Exactly, and like there's aside from the one and only Tate Mayfairs, like you're probably the most athletically accomplished person in professional wrestling. So
I don't know about that. There's some few athletes out there.
Well, just of course there's some incredible athletes out there, incredible talents in this business, but back in the old school of pro wrestling, like everyone came from having done a sporting background, right? And that's not necessarily the case now, and that's a good thing. But but it's a credit. What it is a credit to you. You've been involved in the Great Britain squad at high levels of sport in all of these different professions and got real big lifetime experience in competing and behaving in top end professional sport. Like that's the best background that you could have coming into a business like professional wrestling. So
I appreciate that, man.
That's awesome, man. So tell us about, obviously you started training at Hustle, me and you hit it off. Tell us about your journey in wrestling.
Well, like when I first, I've always loved wrestling. We went on a massive tangent, like how I got into wrestling. So like I started watching it when I was at my dad's on Sky Sport. I loved Rey Mysterio, like the underdog. He was my guy when I was growing up. And like I used to go to like a kids club, like when I was young.
Yeah.
And like I used to be quite close with a boy there, and his dad used to work there at the same time, and he loved wrestling, and his dad used to like download and like copy like the pay-per-views and stuff for me on the disc.
Yeah.
And then after his son watched it, his son would give it to me, and then I'd go home and watch it. So that's how I got around it, and just watching it every other weekend around my dad's. So that's how I started, and then when I like finished with the skeleton after I got cut, I just wanted something new to learn. I've always had sport in my life, so like not having sport for a while, it was weird. I didn't like it, and like not that I wanted to compete at a high level. I just wanted to do something physical and learn something new, and something I've never done before. And it turned out to be professional wrestling. I was either going to try MMA or I was going to try professional wrestling. And I just found a couple of schools online and just went to like beginners classes, and I'd probably start like maybe once every fortnight, once a week, and then like I think it just really took off when I went to Hustle, and it's like, do you know what, actually, credit to Sid, like when I first spoke to him, he just said to me like, you have a lot of potential, mate, and that was just like the clicking bit for me. I was just like, do you know what? Even if I don't aspire to be on shows or do anything, let me just come every week and improve and get that kind of that sporting fix that I missed. And that helped me mentally at that time. And that's how it started, really. And then, what are you going to say?
I was going to say that now you say that, it resonates with me that I remember some of your earlier sessions and you going like, this is the kind of training that I love doing. This is the kind of training that I love doing. So I was just as you said that, I remembered that the way that it was structured and like, you know, it being proper kind of, you know, looking at warming up properly and looking at doing and drilling properly and doing things like, I remember now that you're saying that was like something that you had mentioned.
That's it. It was like, I've been to previous sessions, but like the hustle sessions were just professional. You know, it was, you know, you had, like you said, true structure. You had like you're warming up, you're prepping like your fundamentals, your roles, and then you would go into a focus, and then you'd put that focus into a like sort of match situation.
Yeah.
And like the beauty of wrestling is that you can get creative with it.
Yeah.
And then like you kind of sit and review, and then you would go back and improve on it. And then that's the end of the session, and that is professional sport for me,
right?
And that's how you get better.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know, and I think the key thing with any sport, it just starts at the start with just warming up properly. You know, it sends off like the proper like signals from your central nervous system to all your muscles, like, hey, body, you know, you're about to do some work. You know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and like your body gets working like that, your brain gets working like that, and then it's a sponge, and then you start learning, and you can just soak everything in, and that's the beauty of it, really.
Because man, so you know, I've been in some locker rooms back in the day when I was a kid, and it was not rare, even sometimes now, to be fair, depending where you, it was not rare to see a guy finish his fag and do a couple of squats and then go out there.
Nah.
You know, it's raw, bruv. But you just like, you dig in. You got a love for wrestling anyway from when you was a kid, and you just dig in being back into just a training in an athletic place with a bit of creativity. But then, how does that then develop into getting on shows? Like, tell us about like getting on your first shows and the ball starting to snowball and, you know, grow with it there.
So like I started training, and like within 3 months, like I was asked to do a rumble, and like I had like 2 rumbles, and then I had a single which was against you, and then that kind of happened within a space of like 3 weeks. It just happened so quick.
Was it 3 weeks?
3 weeks. So like I was training for 3 months.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then after 3 months of training, so I started training in October 2018, so like 4 months.
Okay.
October 2018, I started training, and in February 2019, I had my first rumble. A week later, I had my second rumble.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I had my first singles, which was against the Tate Mayfairs.
You must have been shitting yourself.
No.
I'm joking. I'm just trying to put myself over in front of the people. But no. So, how did that come about, man? On the real, how did that come about? Because it would have. I'm thinking. I know the show, and I'm thinking it might have been a little bit like last minute. It's Falling Star. So shout out to James over there. But I believe it might have been. Am I right in saying, was it one where it was like, look, I'm gonna go be at this show. Come in the car. I think there's a spot for you.
No, it was more of like, no, I have had a few shows like that, but it was more of Sid. He messaged me.
Yeah.
And was like, listen, like, you got gear, you got boots. There's a singles match. You're gonna get the guy against you, who we know each other quite well. And then I was just like, you know me, you know I love a challenge. So I was just like, why not? And then, it just went from there. And we were opening match. I think we had 15 minutes, 15 minutes in my first match.
Yeah.
But you know what? The feeling of going out there and that rush, and the best feeling is having a good match and coming backstage. Picked up the win, of course.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah,
he didn't. He didn't.
I did.
Nah, he didn't. Nah.
I think I beat you for Boston Crab.
Nah.
Yeah,
I think what happened is I rolled out and then I stomped your head and you blacked out. But we carried you to the back and we told We carried you to the back and we told you won afterwards. You know what I mean? Just to make
Let's
it
message James and find out the results.
Nah, it's fine.
Find out the score sheet.
Do you know what? You did great. I'll tell you what, you did great, man. Like, for the first match, it was actually, like, so good. I said it to you then at the time, and I even thinking back to it now. We did, like you said, 15 minutes, man. We had a lot to do, right? And but we got a bit of everything done, and we had the crowd had a great time. You come up short, but it's fine. You did great, man.
It is your podcast in Twitch stream. We'll let Mayfairs have this one. But James, check the score, eh?
So you've had the first match, and then we're just rolling basically, isn't it? From there.
Well, yeah, it kind of went a bit quiet for a bit. My first match, I think I had kind of like a few matches. Like I faced Danny Duggan not long after that, at the second Hustle show.
Yeah.
And then I think I had like 1 or 2 matches after that, and it went a bit quiet. I had to finish my masters at university, so I was kind of focused on
Which
that.
was
in sport and exercise science. Yeah.
He's a pro. He's top level.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. But it does continue to pick up. Like, obviously there are bursts and spurts of like quiet periods when you're first getting into it and doing these matches, but it does pick up. And how long was it until you wrestled once again the West London loaded gun, the kingpin of Suave, Tate Mayfairs himself at Progress Wrestling? Because that's big, man.
July, yeah.
So how long was that after?
Well, after my debut?
Yes.
Well, you got March, April, May, June, July, 5 months.
Within 5 months of your debut singles match, you're at Progress.
Yeah. And the funny thing is about that, right?
That's serious.
I bought tickets. I went to Wembley. Before I'd even properly started training, I was thinking about it. Sat right at the back in the nosebleeds in Wembley, right? And I remember I turned to my friend and I said, "Look, I love the show." And midway through the show, I think it was like the tag match, the crazy tag match with like Mills,
all the people,
and everyone, all these talented guys. And I turned to my friend and I said, "Within a year's time, I'm going to be on that stage."
Yes, boy.
That was in September the 30th, 2018. And July 2019,
yeah,
I made my pre-show debut against the Tate Mayfairs. Yeah. So I'm a firm believer of like putting stuff out in the universe and like positive affirmations. Yeah. And like I believe that's like when you say stuff out loud or like you write it down, it makes you accountable for stuff.
It does.
It makes you focused. And I don't know, it's like the universe and the law of attraction if you're into that. And it does work. It has worked.
For many people.
I'll continue using it,
For many people, it's there's 100% something there. And if people who doubt that and think it's all whatever, then I'm sure you as well would say give it a go. Like, remove the doubt. Have a plan that you want to do, however big or small, even if it's I want to get the parking space right in front of Tesco's. Have that goal, write it down. Clear any negative thoughts, focus on it. Say that you're going to do it. Vision it happening. And I guarantee you turn up the Tesco's car park, there'll be a space right at the front door for you.
100%. So I've part read this book called Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read it or you know Anthony Robbins at all. Or Anthony Robinson.
Tony Robbins. Is it
Tony Robinson? That's it. Well, Anthony, Tony, same thing.
Yeah.
And on there, it talks about setting goals.
Yeah.
But setting like time frame to those goals.
Yeah.
And like visualizing about how you want your life to be, and then how you need to make changes to your life in order to achieve that.
Yes, boy.
And like I've taken that on like for years now, and I've just written like different goals in the back of this notebook in different sections. So it might be like personal goals, wrestling goals, business goals, financial goals, anything. And I'll put a like a bracket with how many, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and I'll put a date on that.
Yeah.
And then like every now and then I'll go back to those goals and I'll either tick them off and stuff like that. And that's just a little exercise I use to just, to just make yourself accountable for stuff. And it's super easy and anyone can do it. And however big or small that goal is, however silly you might think people view it, but if it's meaningful to you, it doesn't matter. That's all it matters. That's if it matters to you, it's worth writing down.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
And so you end up wrestling at Progress again. Maybe I don't know how.
January 2019. Yeah.
Against I was going to give his real name, against Warren Banks.
That's it.
Great match, great finish. I was like, oh god.
I'm man enough to admit I came up short on that one.
Oh, what do you mean you're man enough to admit, huh? It was a great match, man.
Thank you, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That's why it's up there, one of my favourite matches.
So tell me about that. Favourite matches, like, what stands out?
Favourite matches for me, I'll have different categories. I think, like, one of my favourite matches was my first one at Progress, was with you. Just because of the sheer fact is that I made that decision, that goal, that was going to happen, and it happened.
Yeah.
My favourite match altogether would probably have to be up there with Banks at Progress, or with Mills when I've done it in Black Notley for company WrestleForce, which is all over like Essex based areas, the East regional areas. Shout out to WrestleForce. Great family shows, like really good atmosphere, good wrestlers on there. So if you're around those areas, check them out. But yeah, those two matches are like key matches that I'd say are my favourite matches.
Yeah, man.
But I've been fortunate enough to wrestle some great guys. Like I've wrestled Pretty Deadly, I've wrestled Paul Robinson, I've wrestled OJMO. Like all great guys. And you know what? They're honourable like mentions to like shout out. Like I enjoyed and loved those matches, but those three matches.
Right, yeah.
Against you, Warren Banks and Mills at Notley, by far my favourite matches.
Hell yeah, man. And I've had Mills turn around to me and say, the boy's good. He's really good. And I'm gutted that I haven't had an opportunity to actually see those matches in person myself, because he's an incredible worker. He's really good. And so are you. And I think the styles are great. And they get a good crowd there at the WrestleForce shows. And I know that you guys have locked up a couple of times, right?
What, with WrestleForce?
You and Mills.
Yeah, we've wrestled twice now. So one was, I think it was East Grinstead was the first one. It was on like a Tuesday night. And then I think not too long after that, literally probably a week before the lockdown or two before the first lockdown in March last year. Yeah. Black Notley, and that one was my favourite match. It was pretty much the main event because there was a rumble afterwards. It was for the international or the international championship there that he holds.
Right.
But wicked match. Yeah,
great.
I loved it.
Was that the last one, or was there another match before the lockdown?
No, I actually think that was my last match. There was a show, probably the weekend. So we went on lockdown on like Monday the 16th of March, right? And I think on the Sunday, I had a match for WrestleForce. but I think it ended up getting cancelled because of everything that was going on in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think me and Mills was my last match since all of this craziness in the world.
We need that rubber match, mate, and I'm gonna be there to see it. Might do a run-in, because you've had 2 now, right?
Yeah, I got 2. Yeah.
We want that 3rd one, and I'll be there for the run-in.
Well, I need a 3rd one with you as well, mate.
That's true. That's true.
You
Yeah, we'll get it signed up. We'll get it signed up, man.
I'm 2-0 up. You know.
Down. Yeah. I know. But this one will be 2 out of 3 falls. I'm gonna get my money back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's always been a pleasure, man. It's always been a pleasure sharing the road and the ring with you.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it again, man.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned, well, I think you've sent me I think that you've sent me. Let's have a look here. Is the Twitter link the one with your
That's the pro.
Yes, boy. All right, we'll end on that. Before we do, give us we mentioned the speaking things into existence. Have you got, no pressure if not, but in a nutshell, in short and sweet, like, what do you want when we come out of this lockdown, personally or professionally or whatever?
In terms of like professionally with like wrestling, I want to just start training consistently again in the ring. That's the start of, the return. I kind of went quiet for a little bit on social media because I was doing my own thing. But I'm back now. I feel like there's some real momentum for things to start getting lifted and get back to some sort of normality again. So number 1 is just to train consistently and just wrestle on 3 different independent promotions that I didn't for the last year that I've been wrestling, like before lockdown. And number 3, which is like my long-term goal, is get a WWE tryout.
Yes, boy.
They're my 3 sort of things. Yeah.
I believe it. I believe in it.
You better, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'll be there with you, mate.
But just speaking it, affirmations, positive,
And I'll be there right next to you to kick you down and get that pinfall, that much needed pinfall I need over you.
Well, in the WWE ring.
That's it, boy. All right.
Well, I'd love that. That'd be great ending. Well, not ending, but a great start to a new chapter in our story.
Yes, it. And I'll tell people I always beat you.
That's right. You can say that, but the stats don't lie, mate.
You know I'm playing. Right, let's have a look at this video. Let's have a little. This is basically the conversation we've had in a Oh, it's not going to work, is it?
Is it not?
Yeah, let's have a look. No, it's just giving me the wheel of death. Here we go.
I was at the top. I was on the road to the Olympic Games, and then with one person's opinion, they cut me. They wanted me to quit, but no. I keep pushing, I keep grinding, because when an opportunity of a lifetime arises, I'm prepared. Rudy Ryan's time is now, and the All-Star is coming for everybody's number.
There he is. A pro.
All-star, man.
An all-star. A future of this business.
Thank you, man.
Rudy Ryan.
Thank you for this.
On the socials, it's Rudy Ryan _PW. Is that right?
No.
What is it?
It's Rudy Ryan, RUDY Ryan, RYAN PW. No
PW.
underscore.
No underscore.
That's Instagram. That's Twitter.
Both of them. Dope. And you can follow that journey there. And obviously you heard that story, but it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
The beginning, mate. Yeah.
Mate.
I'm so grateful to meet you and have you in my life, mate. You're such a positive guy.
Oh, bless you, mate. Thank you. Stop it.
You got it. But yeah, man, thank you for this first chapter in Tate Mayfair's Lounge.
That's it.
You know, first of many, and I'll be back on here to talk about what's been going on. You know.
I thought you were gonna say to talk about when you get that third win. That ain't happening. That's it. But we'll be back.
Right.
We'll be back
Everyone
for sure.
knows I'm gonna get the third win.
Hey,
3 out of 5.
Best of 7. It'll keep getting bigger as we go. Brother, a pleasure. Stick on the phone. I'll do a chat with you afterwards. But to everyone else who's been tuning into the Mayfairs Lounge, woohoo! The pleasure is all yours. There's my boy Rudy Ryan. The doors are now open. The cleaners will be coming in. Get your dirty asses out of here. Goodbye. Woohoo!